Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews where today we have ourselves a track from an act named Ache Tape titled Humane Industry. And if we switch over to here, we have a warning on the screen saying the following video contains flashing lights and effects. This could potentially trigger seizures for anyone with photosensitive epilepsy. Viewer discretion is advised, so just there's a heads up for you there. We're going to listen through this track from start to finish and we're going to hear what we think. Apparently this track is off of their upcoming EP also titled Humane Industry, should I say. So that's cool, and let's go. Let's do it. It was good that they had that warning at the start. And that build there. I mean, it's such ferocious music, isn't it? And the tone of those guitars with those kicks is just... And I think the drums are one of the highlights with the variety of different sort of tom inclusions they have with all the double kicks. That is a filthy fuzz on that guitar, man. Great job double timing it to a normal time, you know? No relief from the dynamic range. I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, it's a tremendous effort at a long form piece for sure. And just the dissonance with those leads with the bomb at the end. I mean, like overall, just before I go into the conclusion, it's definitively commercial grade industrial rock or metal. Industrial metal. It's tremendous, but we're gonna talk about it more in the conclusion. Because welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named Ache Tapes titled Humane Industry. I kind of wonder whether this is sort of, when we talked about Humane Industry and the Satan is sad or something like that, or like God's gone mad. I'm kind of wondering whether this is kind of like satire of like the way that we take care of ourselves, and maybe the way that religion takes care of people, and all the efforts we're trying to sort of do to sort of protect ourselves or those around us are actually in vain because we're gonna die anyways. Maybe it could be about idolatry or something like that, like the person on the cross, you know, there in the art, if you can see that. Hang on, I can just remove myself, can't I? Yeah, there you go. You see the person on the cross there. So I'm wondering if that's just your average person who's maybe looking at themselves like they deserve better treatment than they're getting, and then unaware of how much they're being screwed. I'm not sure, but it's a really interesting song, and part of what sort of retains that interest is simply the relative minimalism of the vocals. Like, we don't have an illustrious, hugely kind of like, there's not a massive journey with the storytelling, but we have these several different parts, these hook lines or these words repeated or these statements that are made, and there's just so much personality to those that it really just kind of gets stuck in your head, and it's kind of weirdly catchy. It's not the most pleasant tone or timbre. Like, it's not trying to be like friggin' Mariah Carey in December, you know, but what I mean is that, like, for the genre, it's incredibly appropriate and authentic. I think that the fry there, the kind of the graininess of the overall texture of it, the kind of the attitude behind it, that kind of the tension and the angst and it all sort of connects really neatly in a way that is almost hysterical of the humane industry. And I think that it's tremendous. Just, again, the personality behind that is distinct. When I hear an Ache Tape track, I recognize the vocals, and I'm like, yeah, no, I understand what's going on here. I feel like I'm at home. The track is 7 minutes long, and that is long, but I feel like it is well fleshed out, despite the fact that we don't have a huge amount of variety instrumentally. We have different, I suppose, verse and sort of choruses, but like, it's weird because it's still kind of through composed, And it's like we have these chants or these kind of mantras that we repeat like Humane Industry over and over again. And it gets stuck in your head and it's kind of unsettling, but it's also incredibly effective. I appreciate what the rhythm guitars are doing throughout there. Just the heaviness of those different power chords and lower string parts droning on there. The kind of the sludginess of it is incredibly intense there. The grittiness, the doom aspect of it. And that low end there was such a phenomenal presence regardless because of the way it was produced and just the way it sounds, you know. It's difficult to get those types of tones sounding like to a commercial, like a clean commercial perspective, but we did that here. Not in a way where it sounds sort of sterilized, but in a way where you can clearly differentiate the drums and the bass and guitar. They're all very, very heavy. But it's also like it's just really fantastically niched. And I think the lead guitar solo that we had later on in the piece with that fuzziness, where I wouldn't have instinctually thought that a fuzzy lead guitar tone would work, it does. They just notch it in a particular part of the frequency spectrum where there is not a lot else happening to allow it space. And it's just fantastic awareness of how to layer things in arrangement. And we have like variations, like it starts kind of slow and then it kind of builds up and there's some bendy bits, some sort of like kind of finicky kind of like bits of ornamentation and stuff like that, but done in a way where it's kind of almost kind of like weirdly kind of classy and epic in a track where it's just already so heavy. And it's like we're trying to lift ourselves out of the mire, but then we kind of get slapped back down and told to stay there. And it's brutal, but it's done in a way where it's genuinely brutal. It's not just, oh, it's a heavy track, therefore it's brutal. It's claustrophobic. The bass and the low end niche as well with the low end resonance of the guitars, and just kind of slams your eardrums. The drums with a variety of different sort of kick, snare, and cymbal grooves, but also exploring the toms with some really sort of fantastic 16th, maybe even 32nd patterns there with some really cool double kick patterns as well. It's a piece where there's a variety of different ways of approaching the rhythm section in a song where there's not as much sort of harmonic or melodic range with the guitars and bass. You do, but the drummer is really tight throughout. It's fantastic to listen through. The synths at the end are rather sort of like kind of digital sort of elements there are more sort of atmospheric, but I appreciate they're in quieter parts where you can sort of really take them in. And just overall, it's just a very mature composition. I think Ache Tape have found a place they're very comfortable in, and I typically enjoy. I've listened to more of their music in the past, I should note, but I love the way that it was put together. I think even though there wasn't a lot of compositional diversity within this track, there was a lot of repetition of those main hook lines and the guitar riffs and bass lines and stuff, with variations too. Again, those riffs and adjustments. It wasn't just the same thing for 7 minutes, but there wasn't huge changes. There were moments of respite where like things got a bit quieter and things came down and things were less intense, but you came back into it, and it was a journey. And it may not have been for the faint of heart, but it was well worth it for me. As a reviewer, I appreciate the work put into making it interesting. The studio recording, the theme itself is oppressive and it's minor oriented, and there are some sort of like maybe some Phrygian modal kind of stuff. So there's some chromatics that make it even more sort of spicy and feisty. Half of the theme feeling like this is the tone of the instruments. The other half is just the choices with, again, those chords and bass lines and stuff like that. The studio production is commercial grade, as I mentioned. I think that the vocals, the guitars, bass, drums, and any other sort of atmospheric elements there are wonderfully captured, and I think it's just a tremendous effort, and it's exactly what we need if we're going to release an EP, and I wish them the best of luck in future. Stereo field, frequency spectrum, dynamic range, nice. It's a very loud track. There's not a lot of headroom when it gets loud, but I think if you're wanting that kind of writhing, seething kind of sort of like sound to it, they've got that here, and it's really well done. This is my review of this track from an act named Ache Tape titled Humane Industry, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love via their various social medias and a YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.